98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Do you believe that antidepressants and anxiety tablets are being overprescribed in this country? Have we become too dependent on pills to tackle our mental health problems? And do you believe that doctors are to blame for handing out these pills like Smarties? Some people do believe that that's exactly what they're doing. Imagine this situation. A woman goes to her GP. Doctor, I'm feeling a little bit down. And the doctor's answer is, no problem, here's the prescription, go get yourself some antidepressants, that'll sort you out. Figures out today, the reason we're mentioning this is figures out today show just how big of an issue this actually is. HSE prescriptions for antidepressants and anxiety medications rose in Ireland by almost 2/3 over the last 10 years. So there are 2/3 more people, 66% more people, having been prescribed antidepressant medication in the last 10 years than was ever the case before. A prescription for 8 antidepressants available from the HSE increased by 64%. Some experts are now saying the big increase in the rate of prescriptions means that more and more people are at least going to their doctor about their mental health, as opposed to suffering in silence. However, others are arguing that these figures show that we're just becoming too dependent on drugs in order to treat mental health issues. And I want to find out what side of the argument you're on. You can call us right now on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. And like I said, there are two different arguments in the medical profession even as to whether or not we should have such an increase in the amount of antidepressants being prescribed. Some argue that it's a sign that at last we're talking about mental health, but others believe it's an over-reliance on medication to sort out mental health issues. Samantha, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Samantha.
Hi, Adrian.
Samantha, tell me your story. You've been on tablets for the last 4 years. How did you end up on tablets in the first place?
Well, basically, it's actually even been more. I've been consistently on them for the last 4 years, but I started suffering with depression, I'd say, when I was about 16, 17. I eventually went to my doctor when I was about 18 and he prescribed me with antidepressants, and I done some counselling. I could go in and be in an awful state in the doctors and he would ask me, well, why do I feel down? Why am I depressed? And I couldn't really answer because I didn't know why I was depressed, you know. So I started off on my antidepressants and I done some counselling and I continued to take them, and then I came off them for a while and I'd be back to square one, so my doctor put me back on them. So that went on from about 18 to 20. Then I had my son when I was starting to feel better, and then I had my son when I was 21. And after I had him, then I got really depressed. I found it very hard to cope. So I went back to my doctors and he explained to me that some people just have to stay on antidepressants and they can't really cope without them. So he said that he found that I was going to be one of these people. So I went back on antidepressants because I obviously needed to stay stable to raise my son. Went back on them. I was doing really well on them, took them consistently, done a bit of counselling again, doing really well. But at the same time, I still have days where I felt really down, even though I was taking them. Then about 2 years ago, I went away and I had a big breakdown when I was away. I couldn't cope. I was crying. I was suffering with anxiety. I came back. I explained it to my doctor again. I said, I was on 20 milligrams at the time. I said, I'm suffering really bad with anxiety now and I still cry. I still break down for no reason. So he said we need to up them. So I got up to 40 milligrams. And I started feeling great again. Obviously, the new dose was working. That was great. And in the last while, I've been really down again. Went back to my doctor and he said, we can up to 60. And I said, no, this is getting ridiculous. Like, I can't go through
So the solution
this.
Every time, and I'm not, trying to second guess the doctor and the doctor's opinion. He's the medical expert. But the solution to your ongoing depression has been to constantly up your medication?
Up the medication.
And could it be, because you might be able to answer this, you know the way they say if you take certain illegal drugs like cannabis or whatever, you eventually become kind of immune to the effect of it. Could that be the case with you, that you've become immune to the effect of the tablet and the only way is to just keep increasing it?
Definitely. I think you start getting used to a certain dose. Probably you get a year out of that dose and you need to up again. And it's just like I had to sit down and I said to myself, no, where does this stop? Like, you know, how much do you go up before you say? And to be honest with you, I'm up again, but I still feel down. Some days I cry and I don't know why I'm crying. Some days I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to leave my bed. And like I force myself to do it. Some days I really struggle to do it. And
let me ask you, you say you did do some counselling in the past. Has that been an option, say, since your child was born? Have you gone for counselling?
Yeah, I have gone back to counselling since he's been born, and you feel great for the hour you do it, and you feel like you get a lot off your chest. And then you come out and you sort of think positive, but within a few days you're back to square one. So I don't think it's it's so difficult because in a way the antidepressants help, but in a way they don't, because... And
I know you were telling Katie that you find them very difficult to come off them.
Yeah, at the moment I said to my doctor I didn't want to go up anymore. I don't want to go up to the next. I want to come off them because I don't feel like they're helping me. They do help to an extent where I don't sit and cry every day. I can control my emotions a bit, like, you know. But I also feel very numb at times as well, as in I have no feelings. I don't know what I should feel about certain situations, like, you know.
Roshan, you're on 98FM. How are you, Roshan?
Hiya, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. What did you want to say on this?
I'm just saying, they just, pop, you know, my sister, she was having a very bad time in her life and she couldn't cope, and one antidepressant made her skinny, one wouldn't let her eat, one made her fat, one made her hair fall out, and she went back to the GP and he'd give her, you know, she must have... Now,
I do know I do know from talking to people that it does take some time, perhaps with some people, to find the one that works right, to find the one that suits you best.
But at the same time, they have to come off the other one, so then that's kind of messing with yourself and you're getting all these effects. So you can't try them straight away, whereas she was trying to pop it on top of the one that was already on her system, and she just went totally bonky, like. Do you know what I mean? Now, myself, I take Lexapro, but it's only to kind of... There's an ingredient in it that helps my epilepsy, so I don't have seizures.
Okay, so you believe... do you think it's too quick of a solution? To be...
They just hand them to you, and like, after my
I do know that you could probably walk into your GP today. If you decided today, I want to get antidepressants, you could walk into your GP, you could give them some cock and bull story and walk out with antidepressants.
Oh yeah, they just show them at you like it's Zolpidem or something. Like, it's actually harder to get Zolpidem than antidepressants, believe it or not.
Because, you have to get a prescription for the antidepressants. But yes, I take your point.
It's the same thing. All you do is walk in and, you know, a prescription, and you have them with your $2.50 levy pay, whatever it is, and it's in your hand.
So you believe that they are handing them out too freely?
Yeah, they just do it because they want to get rid of you. They hear your story and they just want the money. I mean, the more prescription drugs they hand out, they're getting paid. These GPs are getting paid to do that. And they don't care about the responsibility of their patients.
Samantha,
they know it all.
Samantha, just to go back to you, a lot of people, and I'm not saying that this is accurate, I'm not saying this is right, but a lot of people do genuinely believe that doctors, I won't say take the easy way out, but they are giving out too many antidepressant tablets. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it to an extent, Adrian. Like, when I went into my doctor and told him how I was feeling, I was in an awful state. So he was in a hard situation. He didn't know really what to do. And he thought at the time, like, antidepressants would help along with counselling. But I do also know people, Adrian, that do be out on a bender every weekend and they're taking coke and whatnot. and they go into their doctors and they say, I'm feeling down, and it's actually got to do with them with illegal drug abuse.
Yes, with the come down from taking illegal drugs.
Yeah, when they come down and they're getting their antidepressants and they say, you're not feeling any better because you're still out on benders at the weekend and you're taking everything under the sun, whereas I don't do that. I'm genuinely suffering with depression, but I think, Adrian, when you're suffering with depression, you're always going to suffer with it. So that's why I made the decision that I want to start coming off my antidepressants.
And you want to start learning to cope without the assistance of medication. Now, I'm also aware, Samantha, and I think it's very important to state this, that for some people, antidepressants do work extremely well and do help them with that kind of chemical imbalance that they may have, and provide a lifeline for them. So I am aware that for some people, and I want to make this clear, for some people, antidepressants are extremely helpful. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they're extremely helpful. And that's a great example you just gave about somebody who's taking illegal drugs at the weekend, and then during the week they're suffering such a down as a result of taking them at the weekend. Yeah.
And another thing I would say as well, Adrian, the antidepressants have worked for me to an extent. Now I'm choosing not to go up anymore, and I'm going to hopefully find another way to cope. But my advice to anyone that's starting to suffer with depression and all, I would say try go down another route before you take the antidepressant route, because it will help you to an extent, but if you don't want to stay on them long term, you're going to have the problem that I'm having now. I'm coming off them. At the moment, I take them every third night. I'm on 40 milligrams every third night, and I can tell you by the third night, Adrian, that I'm suffering. I know I need it. My mood is starting to change, and it's going to be a long, like my doctor said to me, they're not something that you can just stop taking because you're going to be all over the place.
Severe side effects,
so I am going to have to come off them slowly. And I have to say, I just can't wait to come off them now and try find another way of coping, because I feel like I've put on a huge amount of weight and all with them.
And you don't like being dependent on any type of drug?
I don't want to be dependent on it. I'm now going to try take up exercise, because a lot of research that I have done with depression, a lot of people say exercise can be absolutely great for the mind. Okay. So I'm going to try take that up.
And I know I've heard that recommendation as well, that exercise can be a huge help. Stay there for a second. Keela, you're on 98FM. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Grand, thank you. Your doctor tried to give you medication, but you're against it, so wouldn't take it. Why not?
No, and do you know what? Samantha just explained exactly why I won't take them. There she is, and she's up to 40 milligrams already, you know what I mean? And she's still not feeling the full kind. She's still not feeling fully right, you know what I mean? I don't want to be pumping that stuff into my body and then not even getting the benefits out of it.
But if that is and obviously these medications are tested, they're proven. If that is the solution that you're, and again, I don't want to be in any way coming across as second guessing any doctor. If that is his professional suggestion to help you deal with depression or whatever, surely you should take it. I mean,
because Adrian, sorry to cut across you there. There's so many alternatives. I'll give you a prime example. When I first went into my doctor, I was just after having my son, and I couldn't sleep. Purely just couldn't sleep. I didn't have anxiety or depression or anything like that. Purely couldn't sleep. His first answer to me was, there's a pack of Cipromil. Go take them for 2 weeks. Come back to me and tell me how you feel. Do you know what I mean? And then when I started...
But realistically, what else could he do?
With Courtney, you've got CBT. Like Samantha said, your exercise. Go through an exercise plan with someone. Try and healthier lifestyle with someone. Anxiety, I suffer with GAD. Your anxiety, healthy eating can also help as well. There's even supplements you can take to ease anxiety. There's so many other alternatives rather than just going, there's an antidepressant, pat on the head, off you go out the door, come back to me in 2 weeks and tell me how you feel. I was told when I got my first panic attack last year, my anxiety stemmed from that. I never had anxiety before that. and I was told that I'd have to wait 16 weeks to see a counsellor. Now that's a non-profit counsellor. It was nothing to do with the HSE. I'd have to wait 16 weeks. Never heard back from them. So like literally only recently, other than them, like, you know, answering to me antidepressants, I had to go in and beg them to ask them to put me in to counselling or therapy or something, because I need the skills. I've been doing it on my own for a year because I won't take the antidepressants, but there is millions of alternatives to take. Now,
and again, I can't stress this enough. We, at no point in this, somebody just texted this in a couple of moments ago, and it says, what you were telling people is irresponsible and can be dangerous. Nobody should stop their medicines without medical advice. To that person who sent that text in, I don't know what radio show you're listening to. You're listening to a completely different one, because at no point has anybody said you should stop taking your medication. In fact, on several occasions I have said I am not in any way trying to second guess the advice of a medical professional. If a medical professional puts you on medication, you should take that medication if that is the advice of your professional practitioner. Simple as. So to that person who sent in that message, at no point, and I can't stress this enough, at no point are we saying stop taking tablets now. No, we're not saying that. We are merely having a conversation about the fact that many people believe doctors are over-prescribing medication. Not to stop taking your medication. We're having a conversation about the fact that in the last 10 years there's been a 64% increase in the amount of medication being prescribed for depression and mental health issues. 64% in 10 years. So we're having a conversation where we're getting people's opinions, and these people are directly involved, and that person who's telling us how to do our radio show won't even come on the air, so I can do no more. Bren, you're on 98FM. How are you, Bren?
How are you doing?
Good, Bren. Now, what did you want to say on this?
Well, I don't know. I'm a bit different than everybody else. I think my doctors they weren't trying to hand them out like Smarties to myself. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, like, I suppose maybe it's the catchment area I'm in the Dunleary Rathdown area. When I went to my doctor about issues with suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, just wanting out, dark place, really, really dark place I was in. And I was referred to Clonmara services, the John of God outpatient services. Very good. In my area. So I went there and we tried some therapies and CBT and group therapy and one-on-one counselling and so on and so forth. And after trying some of that, I did realise that I did need to actually get some meds as well.
Okay, and I know this is one of the things that has been shouted about over the last couple of years, that access to services like that is very difficult, and sometimes, you know, if there's a waiting list, I read earlier on that for some children, access to psychological services can take up to a year, which is outrageous. You were probably lucky in that you did get the counselling services as well alongside the medication.
Yeah, well, I'd say it was more play the house that have actually kept me alive, and I'm still here to this day because of them, than any medication or any other therapy that I've done through anything else.
That's fantastic to hear. That's a fantastic recommendation for Pieta House.
What they have done for me is unbelievable, I have to say, you know. So I just find that things are just a little bit different for me. As I say, maybe it's just my catchment area, and that I was just lucky that I could get into these services pretty quickly. I think I might have got rushed in as well because of how bad it was at the time. Because it was a really dark place. I can still say that I'm still suffering today, but I'm nowhere near as bad as what I was.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. You know? And it sounds to me that you were treated in the right way. You got this sort of treatment and that sort of help that you needed.
Well, I think I have a very good relationship with me GP as well and stuff, and he knows I was reluctant to go on meds at the beginning anyways, because I did suffer maybe 15 years ago. I suffered with my mental health. It was really bad as well, but I had it under control for years, and I used to be like very good at knowing when I was feeling down or do something to help me snap out of it. But this time around, nothing worked and everything else, so I had to go back, try the therapies, and then I realised there's something wrong with my chemical balance, and I just need to take some sort of antidepressant, and so be it. If it's going to be for the rest of my life, I've learned I'm happy
and that's good to
deal
hear.
with that. And
The sort of thing that I'm talking about, Bren, is, and I can speak from personal experience in one case, and I know from a friend that this happened as well. The two examples that I give are, for example, a teenager suffering from severe bullying in school, who is really, really down as a result of the severe bullying, was prescribed tablets. Now, how that makes the bullying any easier to cope with or makes it go away, I do not know. But that was what that teenager walked out of the doctor's surgery with. And then another example is, similarly, somebody who was down in the dumps who had been separated and was prescribed antidepressant medication as well. Doesn't make the difficulty of a marriage separation go away. And that was me, by the way. That happened to me. That I was given tablets after my marriage broke down, as if that was going to make it easier. And I just don't get that. Sorry, say that again, Bren?
I said...
Oh, sorry, we're after losing him. Frank, you're on 98FM. How are you, Frank?
Adrian, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Frank. What did you want to say?
First, I've heard this now over a few years now in conversations. First of all, that lady or girl there that was on there before that chap there, I thought she was kind of contradicting herself in a couple of statements. I mean, her first was she went to the doctor looking for help because she gave birth to her child and she couldn't sleep. Then when the doctor then prescribed her with a certain medication... Well,
I did ask her what else was he to do.
She didn't need it. Now, I mean, let me just explain to people, Adrian, as you know yourself. A GP is a general practitioner.
Correct.
He or she is not a consultant, they're not a mental health expert, they're not a psychologist, they're not a brain surgeon. So they're treating or dealing with hundreds of people in their practice, probably one or two other doctors with them. They don't know people's story or history. What they're to do, they're only there to guide you and prescribe you with a certain medication that they feel is wrong with you. Now, if people don't want to take that medication, go to a psychologist or an expert in that field. Don't go to your general practitioner. It's like me, I suffer with high cholesterol. And the doctor says to me, okay, Frank, we're going to put you on medication A. No, doctor, that's not great for me. Okay, Frank. So what did I go to him for in the first place? It's absolutely ludicrous. People are there saying, oh, I went to the doctor there and he's giving me this or that. If people think they can self-medicate, don't go to your general practitioner with mental health issues. Go to a professional.
That is very sound advice, I have to say, Frank.
And it's the only way, Adrian, because people over the years, you'll get people going in. I love this one, Adrian. We all know this person or this person will come into the pub and go, jeez, I was down with that doctor today. He's a fruitcake. I told him I had a pain in my chest and he said, I'm going to put you on them tablets. It could be a bit of a joiner. I didn't bother taking them. I mean, you say to yourself, what did you go near the doctor for, you fool, you?
Yeah, no, I have to say I agree wholeheartedly with you. And I do think some people are on antidepressant medication that shouldn't be. That probably told a cock and bull story to the doctor in order to get the bloody tablets in the first place.
The girl before that girl earlier on said she knows people, as she said, the people that go to the quacks on a Monday or Tuesday, GPs, and they say, oh, I'm feeling down. But they didn't tell the GP that they're after being sniffing Charlie up their nose always.
Absolutely. And that is probably a very large problem. A very large part of the problem.
And the lady before that gentleman there, no disrespect to her when I said she was contradicting herself in a couple of things. She said she suffers with GAD. Now, the GP didn't diagnose her with GAD. That must have been a consultant or a psychologist she's seeing down the road to be diagnosed with that.
All right, stay there for a second, Frank. I understand the point that you're making, and it's a very valid one as well, that if you believe you're suffering with mental health issues, at least ask for a referral to an expert. Yes, okay. And finally, June, you're on 98FM. Hi, June.
Hi, Adrian.
Now, June, what did you want to say on this?
Well, I was just saying, I was depressed for years, and I didn't even realise it. And one stage, I have a special needs son, I'm on my own, and at one stage I was actually dragging myself around and I thought I was fine because I was taking care of my son. And I was saying, oh, I must be low in iron. I'll take some iron tablets or something. And that didn't work. But, you know, I did actually go on to antidepressants for a short time. And they did help me through a bad phase.
Okay.
And
again, I can't stress this enough. I know for a lot of people, they can help greatly. And for other people, they are the only answer.
Yeah, well, everybody's different.
Yes.
And what I found was like, well, I didn't drink a lot anyway, but when I did drink, it kind of made the depression worse because drink is a depressant. Mm-hmm. And then I started taking vitamins like vitamin B complex and vitamin D. And of course, I always kind of ate healthy anyway, but I just seemed to need the extra vitamins. And then, like exercise, I started doing yoga and Zumba, and you know the difference. Like, and I also
so between the vitamins and the exercise, that has brought you along, has it?
Oh, big time! I'm a totally different person now. And plus, I did a CBT course that helps you change your way of thinking. So that really helped too. So it was a combination of different things that helped me. You know, so I just text in to say like, well, I just called in, you know, because everybody's different, as I say. But if I could be of help to anybody, you know, like by telling them like sometimes they're lacking in certain vitamins, and you know, to be active and maybe cut back on the drinking and stuff like that, and eat healthy because you are what you eat. Isn't that what they say?
That's what they say. All right, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed, and good to hear that that you're getting there, that you're in a much better place than you were before.
I am. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, June. All right, thank you, and thank you all of you for your calls. You're listening to 98FM's Dublin Talks.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.